Hi everyone. So today I want to talk to you guys about being productive while you're at home and working from home mostly. And so people that are saying, well, what's the big deal? I don't know why I'm struggling so much. I don't know why working from home is so hard for me. When I used to work at home, I used to finish off my emails and finish off my projects. I was fully capable of doing that, but for some reason, I am having a really hard time right now. So one thing I would like to say is have some self-compassion. There is a global pandemic happening right now, and your whole life, literally 80% of your waking life has shifted completely. So you are going to need a lot more internal resources, emotional resources, mental resources, and that is draining you. And so working from home is just another adjustment you're going to have to make. Now, remember that working from home is very different from working at home. While we're working at home or finishing off emails is a very different mindset than working from home. Working from home is you showing up to work all day long while you sit at home. And that's very hard to do if you don't have some good discipline and strategies in place. And I'd like to share some of those with you. So the first thing I would recommend is make sure you have a workstation. That workstation needs to be an office you report to every single day. I know that I've told you guys about being dressed for work, but this is going to be also in your environment sort of suggesting that you need to be at work. This is all about an associative sort of exercise. When we go to work, everything in our environment is sending us a signal that you are supposed to be at work. And so we need to create an environment that sends a signal to our brain that says you are now at work. And that means you have a desk. It can be like a fold-away table. It doesn't have to be a huge desk, but it literally is a place where you report every single day. That means the chargers are all there, electric cords are all there, you have your headset, which is noise cancellation there, laptops are there, everything that you need, paper, pen, pencil, markers, you need to create a desk space for your home. And that will be very, very important because just like when we go to a spa, we can have a really, sort of frenzied mind. But when we go into the spa, everything in the environment sends a signal to our body and our mind that we can calm down now. Now, the same thing is you need to turn on and switch on. So everything in your environment needs to be switching you on and saying you need to show up. I've already talked to you guys about the importance of dressing up and showing up to work. So having a morning routine, which is very, very micromanaged, where you wake up, you exercise, you shower, you get dressed for work, and then you go to work. And that's your desk. That's going to be very, very important. Number 2, having some tight psychological boundaries around housework and interruptions. When you're working with your husband or your wife and they finish what they're doing and then they interrupt you because, they wanted to share something with you. That is a no-go. I think it's very important that you have some signs up. You can even make a cubicle for yourself if you need to with poster board. You can wear a headset or something that gives a signal that when I have this on or when this is up, please do not interrupt me. And that means you do not go off and try to do housework in between meetings. When you're at work, you show up to work and you stay there and you work there and try to, maybe you need to shorten your day or maybe you need to have a break in the middle of your day where it's lunch, where you're checking in on your kids. I think that's fine. But for the most part, I don't want you like cleaning the kitchen and then having a meeting and then, cleaning your room and then having a meeting. It's just too draining for you to be task switching so much and then trying to keep your mind frame sort of in that space. Number 3, you're going to need to know what your distractions are. What are your triggers? For me, I get really sort of distracted when I, think about food or when I think about not, having things on my bookshelf. So I can't have like books in front of me because they're just really distracting. So I always have to have them either behind me or to the side of me. I still need them around, but those are my distractions because then I start wondering, oh, when was the last time I read that book? And then I get distracted. So you're going to have to really tighten up on those distractions. Another thing that's very distracting is our phone. So turn off all your notifications. Your phone should not be telling you what you need to be doing, even though guys, you might have had those kinds of distractions in your workspace and you were able to manage, remember, we are trying to reprogram our mind. Our mind is an associative device. And so we need to change the associations of our home, which was to rest and relax and not be distracted, all of a sudden to now being focused and showing up to work and making sure we're being productive in our meetings and in our projects. So we have to really reprogram our mind. You want to limit the distractions and the noise. Do not go onto social media because you know it's a black hole that once you get in there, it's just very hard to pull yourself out. Be weary of those sort of liminal periods. Liminal periods are in between things. So you just got off of one Zoom meeting and now you're about to get on another one. Don't get into a thing that you don't want to be doing at that point. Don't go and walk to the fridge at that point. Don't check your social media at that point. Avoid the urge. They actually say surf the urge during those liminal periods. And that could be, hey, let me just walk to my kids and let me see what they're doing. And as I'm walking, I flip on my phone automatically and I start checking something. And that is going to be a liminal period where I don't do that. I quickly go check on my kids and I come back. So make sure that you know your triggers and you limit them or cut them out completely. Number 4 is going to be time boxing. I cannot urge you enough to get rid of your to-do list. To-do lists do not work. There are too many things usually on our to-do list. We feel overwhelmed and then we go and check our email because that gives us a quick dose of dopamine because we felt productive because we did something. To-do lists don't work. You need to do a mind dump, and in that mind dump, you need to drop everything that is in your mind. Every project, every to-do list, personal, medical, professional, everything needs to go on to that document. Once you've done the mind dump, then you need to take out your priorities and your projects and put it in a time slot. I learned this when I was 18 years old and it was life-changing for me. If it's not in a time slot, it's not going to get done. If I have to wash my hair, it's going to go in a time slot. If I have to spend time with my children, it's going to be in a time slot. Literally no hour of my day is white because there's always something in that time slot that I need to be doing. Because if it stays on the to-do list, it's going to remain on the to-do list. It needs to get dropped into a time slot. And then I want you to, when you're thinking, this is the last thing, by the way, that number 5 is to really make sure that you are managing your energy, because there are a lot of times where we don't think, oh, well, how am I going to be feeling on Tuesday after all of those meetings? And then we put a big project in place, or we have, time spent with our children at the end of that day, and you just know that you're not going to be able to fulfill that. And so if you want to be productive, you need to become very attuned to your own energy and listen to that and think about, project yourself into the future and say, how am I going to feel on Wednesday after work? Will I be able to take that call at that time, or is that going to deplete me? Because remember, guys, working from home in a pandemic while you're doing all sorts of other things like being a referee in your home so your kids don't, hurt each other. And number 2, you're being a teacher, you're being a cook, you're being, all sorts of things. That's not a time when you want to deplete yourself. You need to constantly be refueling yourself. This is why you need an environment that soothes you, that comforts you. Have your tea, have your flowers, have your aromatherapy, but then also make sure that you are not running on empty by the end of the day, because your family needs you and you need you. You want to sort of have some energy left for yourself at the end of the day. So when you are time boxing, make sure that you're looking at your energy and not just your time. So those are some things I would recommend. Try them. Remember, if it's not in the time slot, it ain't gonna happen. And make sure that you're doing your energy management, managing your distractions. You are actually fully equipping your station. You're not trying to work from your bed or your sofa or your couch or this or that. You're not gonna be productive if you do that. So try these things at home. Let me know how it goes.